Link TV, connecting you to the world. Link TV is viewer supported. Watch more at linktv.org.
Link TV presents Mosaic World News from the Middle East. Here are today's top stories.
Pakistan flood victims are still waiting for aid. Palestinian asylum seekers shot at Turkish Embassy in Tel Aviv. And Iraq's Maliki denies discussing government formation with Allawi. Mosaic World News from the Middle East begins now.
The Saudi monarch has pledged 300 million Saudi riyals from the Saudi people to the flood-stricken victims of Pakistan. In addition, 100 million riyals were collected by Saudi public fundraisers. Saudi Arabia had previously sent 18 aid planes to flood victims in Pakistan. Elizabeth Pierce, the spokeswoman for the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, said that relief efforts started to flow in the right direction, but that aid is still very slow, as confirmed by humanitarian organizations.
لم يحصل سوى قلة بين 6 ملايين باكستاني هم في أمس الحاجة.
Only a few out of nearly 6 million Pakistanis who are in dire need of food and clean drinking water received aid. Meanwhile, the UN is urging donors to pledge more money in aid, especially considering that only 500,000 victims have access to food and clean drinking water, as floods isolated thousands of villages.
وفيما بدأت المساعدات بالوصول بشكل بطيء بدأ كثير من المتضررين بالعودة إلى بيوتهم.
As aid has started to slowly arrive and as water levels have started to recede in some areas, some of the victims started to return to their homes. However, in a country where water is covering more than 1/5 of its total area, an area equivalent to the size of England, it may take a long time before water levels completely recede, causing more deaths and waterborne diseases.
في الكارثة على كل الجوانب. كما ستخلف المياه بعد انحسارها.
After receding, waters will continue to be a burden as the cost of reconstruction is expected to reach $15 billion.
لكن فكرة إعادة الإعمار تبدو مؤجلة.
The reconstruction efforts may not be launched anytime soon, as the country is seeking to secure nearly $460 million in aid and relief efforts in order to ease the crisis and prevent it from spreading. Hani Abu Ayyash, Al-Arabiya.
Palestinian security sources and eyewitnesses said that Israeli warplanes shelled targets in the city of Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip. Israel also carried out another raid in northern Khan Yunis. There have been no reports of casualties. An Israeli military spokeswoman said that 4 airstrikes were carried out by Israeli warplanes targeting a factory that produces weapons and 3 tunnels used for smuggling weapons from Egypt. In another development, Israeli police transported the Palestinian man who stormed the Turkish Embassy in Tel Aviv to a nearby hospital due to injuries sustained while he was trying to take a hostage. According to the Israeli news service, the man demanded asylum in Turkey because he was allegedly being pursued by the Israeli and Palestinian authorities.
The Turkish embassy in Tel Aviv was the scene of a hostage standoff. A Palestinian man infiltrated the Turkish embassy and took the deputy consul hostage before he was overpowered by embassy security. The man sustained minor injuries in the incident, as confirmed in a statement issued by the Turkish Foreign Ministry. Israeli police said that the suspect is a Palestinian man with whom they are familiar and that he was transported to a nearby hospital.
We received a call regarding an individual who reportedly stormed the Turkish embassy and probably took hostages. We immediately took the proper measures and deployed emergency vehicles to the scene. The first teams to arrive at the scene confirmed that the embassy security opened fire on the man, slightly injuring him.
Israeli Channel 2 aired an audio tape of the man, who is identified as Nadib Injaz, saying that he would burn down the embassy if denied asylum to Turkey. The Israeli report said that Injaz had weapons, explosives, and gasoline.
I took hostages. I have hostages.
How many hostages?
2 hostages. I have 2 hostages. If my demands are not met within 30 minutes, I will burn down the embassy and those inside.
The Israeli Foreign Ministry said that Injaz was released from an Israeli jail 2 weeks ago after serving 4 years for storming the British embassy in Tel Aviv in 2006 and demanding asylum. The source added that Injaz had the same motive, which is to seek asylum.
There is nothing to worry about at the embassy. Everything is under control. All embassy employees are in good condition. A man who claimed to be Palestinian came to the embassy to demand asylum. He was reportedly armed.
Israeli media reports that Injaz, whose family lives in a village near the West Bank city of Ramallah, claimed that he was wanted by the Palestinian Authority for collaborating with the Shin Bet, the Israeli domestic security agency. Israeli radio said that the Shin Bet has denied any connection to Injaz, who said that he was illegally living in Israel. A Palestinian security official said that Injaz is being pursued by the Palestinian authorities on suspicion of collaborating with the Shin Bet. The incident comes at a time when Turkish-Israeli relations are strained over the latter's attack on the Freedom Flotilla in international waters. 9 Turkish citizens were killed in that attack.
Today, dozens of political and religious leaders, civilians, and Jerusalemites living in Israel demonstrated in Jerusalem. They protested the Israeli aggressions on the historic Mamilla Cemetery. Its graves have been demolished and bulldozed with the objective of seizing the land.
The demonstrators said that their goal is to speak up against the occupation's deliberate targeting of moral and legal Palestinian rights in Jerusalem.
From Jerusalem, this report by our correspondent Jafar al-Buderi.
Their grandchildren are still flocking to uncover what the teeth of Israeli bulldozers left behind. Teeth, aided by human hands, bulldoze shrines and graves of thousands of martyrs, soldiers, and prominent Jerusalemite families.
Even in Judaism, it's inconceivable to exhume a grave. Of course, it's very painful to walk in the cemetery and see all of these graves exhumed in this way, including my parents, relatives, grandparents, and the relatives of other Jerusalemite families. And my friends as well.
In order to put pressure on the Israeli government to stop bulldozing Mamilla Cemetery, political and civil parties organized a demonstration in front of historic Palestine's oldest and largest Muslim cemetery.
Mamilla Cemetery is characterized by its historic roots that have endured 15 centuries. It holds thousands of the Prophet's companions and martyrs. It even holds Christian martyrs who participated with Salah al-Din al-Ayyubi in liberating the city of Jerusalem. In addition, the cemetery is located in the city of Jerusalem.
We are here in the city of Jerusalem. We have been and will remain Muslims and Christians, one national family in the face of the occupation and the racism that targets the living and the dead alike.
The demonstration, which was surrounded by police officers and Israeli intelligence, was organized at the gates of the cemetery that was built meters away from Jerusalem's walls and the Old City. After the occupation of the western part in 1948, it became right on the border of the two halves, the West and the East.
It is simultaneously desecrating Mamilla Cemetery and renovating the Jewish cemetery in Jabal al-Zaytun in the Palestinian territories. This paradox is really outstanding. The Israeli side wants West Jerusalem to be completely Jewish. East Jerusalem is on its way towards becoming the same, completely Jewish.
Out of the cemetery's initial 200 dunams, only a few dunams remain. The issue had exploded when occupation forces bulldozed the site night and day in order to build the Museum of Tolerance and government complexes. At the same time, it is restoring old Palestinian buildings after having seized them.
We took our case to the United Nations and we decided to preserve Mamilla Cemetery, seeing that it is a part of our heritage and a holy site. The human perspective is also important. It is not permissible to destroy a cemetery or build a museum of tolerance on top of it.
There's a new battle in this city every day. Today's battle is not simply about graves and shrines. Their martyrs and ancestors preserved this land. It is an issue related to history, religion, and a right to face all those who want to eliminate the future of a people. Javara Al-Bouderi, Al Jazeera, from the Mamilla Cemetery, West Jerusalem.
Our correspondent from Jerusalem, Javara Al-Bouderi, will stay with us.
Javara, on the basis of all these changes in the demonstration, what is the extent of the legal grounds of this case?
From the legal perspective, the case is still playing out. There have been some changes in Israel at the governmental level. Internally, there are a number of lawyers who are following the case in Israel. They had succeeded a short while ago to freeze the bulldozing. However, it seems that the Israeli municipality proceeded with the work and was backed by the police and army. They continued bulldozing, destroying, and also desecrating the site. In addition, there have been some changes on the international scene. Reaching the UN headquarters in the capital Geneva was very important, and a decision to stop the building was issued there. The site is not merely a Muslim cemetery, it represents the history and heritage of a religion.
In other news, former President Moshe Katsav regarded female employees as a pool of sexual objects. These words from prosecutors in the trial summary of the rape and sexual assault case pending against Katsav after the Tel Aviv District Court today cleared, for the first time, publication of the summary transcripts. According to prosecutor Ronit Amiel, Katsav maintained a reserve of women that suited his sexual interests to be taken advantage of with various levels of severity, including rape. She said that the victims feared retaliation if they resisted or reported Katsav's abuse. Defense attorneys Avigdor Feldman and Sion Amir, meanwhile, complained that Katsav was demonized by the state due to a shortage of evidence. They also argued that it is unclear if their client can receive justice following what they called an ocean of hatred and media slander against him. The former president was charged in 2007 with 2 counts of rape and other sexual crimes against 4 women who worked for him during his 10 years as president and tourism minister. His trial ended in June, and Judge George Kara is now expected to render a verdict in September or after the end of the High Holy Days in October.
In a step that represents the most notable progress in dealing with the rights of Palestinians in Lebanon, the Lebanese parliament granted the refugees the right to work in any field open to foreigners. The decision, which does not constitute a complete solution to the suffering of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in this country, was met with various reactions from officials and the public. Our correspondent in Beirut, Elian Shatri, will attempt to examine some of them in the following report.
She has a nursing degree, which she received from one of the most prestigious universities in Lebanon, but that did not guarantee her right to work. Ruba, who was born, raised, and educated in Lebanon, is Palestinian. Along with her husband Muhammad, they have been prevented from working until the Lebanese parliament approved, for the first time since 1948, the Palestinian refugees' right to work, similar to other foreigners.
Imagine a person working hard to get an education, and then they just stay at home. Not because they are incompetent or uneducated, but simply for being Palestinian. But in all seriousness, we are very happy.
The next step is granting them more rights.
The official Palestinian reaction on the decision was varied. While Fatah described it as a step in the right direction, different factions thought that the decision did not even meet basic rights. On the street, the decision was not met enthusiastically, especially in the camps where 1/3 of the 400,000 refugees live. The conditional amendments to the law prevent Palestinians from attaining a large number of jobs in the private and public sectors.
We are asking and will continue to ask for the right to work in the private sector.
Those who want to support the right of return should recognize Palestinian human rights.
We hope that they take an even bigger step. We don't want to be naturalized or anything.
An internal political settlement led to the approval of the law after long weeks of calls and negotiations, an issue that has lasted dozens of years. However, it seems that the settlement does not include other rights, most notable of which is ownership rights.
What we gave the Palestinians was the bare minimum. We will tackle ownership rights next.
The Palestinian file has crossed a step toward improving the condition of the refugees, even if it does not represent a complete solution to their suffering in Lebanon, where the condition of their civil rights is considered to be the worst among other Arab countries.
According to Iyad Allawi, the head of the Iraqi list, there are real and nearly identical prospects shared between his faction and the parliamentary Sadrist bloc. After meeting with senior Sadrist leaders, Allawi said that there are variables that may help them form the next government.
In another development, the Ahrar Sadrist parliamentary bloc revealed what it described as a new roadmap for the formation of the government, with the participation of the National Coalition and the Iraqi list.
It seems that political maneuvers in Iraq have started heading in a new direction. Some politicians believe the purpose is to simultaneously mount pressure on the allies and the rivals in order to break the deadlock. Despite their intensity, these political maneuvers have still not produced any tangible results on the ground. The meeting between senior members of the Iraqi list and the Sadrist bloc, although it's not the first of its kind, has sent messages to various political blocs, indicating that there is a possibility for the emergence of new prospects that could change the makeup of the current coalitions and could lead to a breakthrough in the government formation crisis.
The meeting was important and positive. There were real prospects that were nearly identical. We will hold more intensive and consecutive meetings in the next few days, God willing, in order to reach consensus in Iraq during this holy month, which in turn will help us form the next government.
The meeting between the Sadrist and Iraqi blocs comes one day after the latter announced that it has halted talks with the State of Law Coalition, led by Nouri al-Maliki, in protest over remarks issued by al-Maliki, who said that the Iraqi list represents only the Sunni population. However, al-Maliki's advisor issued a statement to the press, denying reports that talks broke off with the Iraqi list. Al-Maliki received a letter from Allawi over the issue of dismissal. The fluctuation of positions and the contradictory statements of the politicians have led some Iraqis to believe that their leaders have deviated from the path of national responsibility. As security pressures continue to mount amidst the U.S. announcement of the withdrawal of combat forces from the country, Iraqi politicians are about to meet face-to-face with the growing challenges.
To Afghanistan, where angry Afghans have taken to the streets in the country's east to protest against the killing of civilians by U.S.-led troops.
The police was not aware of this incident. This operation has been conducted without regional police. We want the Americans, whenever they conduct these kind of operations, to inform provincial authorities to help them.
Hundreds of demonstrators blocked the main highway between Kabul and the eastern city of Jalalabad. The protests flared over the death of a father and his son at the hands of NATO forces. Now the two were killed after U.S.-led troops stormed their house in Nangarhar province. NATO claims that they were militants, but local villagers say they were civilians. Similar demonstrations were also held in the country's east earlier this week. Well, U.S.-led troops have attacked a secret Taliban prison in Afghanistan's southern province of Helmand, killing 13 people. Now, provincial spokesman says the operation was meant to free the prisoners, but 5 of the inmates were killed. 2 of them were Afghan aid workers employed by an American institute. In a separate incident in the southern province of Zabul, the militants killed a provincial official and his wife. The 2 were accused of spying for NATO forces. The Taliban have stepped up their targeted attacks against those with links to U.S. and NATO forces.
Turkey was happy and joyful in its welcome of the holy month of Ramadan. Our correspondent Rami Abdul Akbar reports.
When Ramadan visits the sky of Turkey's business capital, Istanbul, the hustle and bustle of the markets, teamed with vendors and customers, begins. The Turks enjoy all the delicious traditional food and sweets that fill the tables of the iftar meal.
This year, Ramadan is very difficult because of the high temperature. We hope to be able to sell more goods in the coming few days.
The Turks are invested in Ramadan's rituals, such as praying and fasting. At the same time, they enjoy the various dishes of the rich Turkish cuisine. One of the famous Turkish Ramadan customs is for men and women who come from all over the country to visit the Khirqa-i-Sharif Mosque in Istanbul's Fatah neighborhood. They come to see the cloak that was given to Unais al-Qurani by the Prophet. Sultan Selim had transported it from Hijaz to Istanbul during his reign of the Ottoman Empire.
The Khirqa-i-Sharif Mosque is one of the oldest mosques in Istanbul. During Ramadan, this mosque is open to all Turkish citizens who come from all over the country to visit and be blessed by the cloak of the Honorable Prophet.
In Istanbul's Bayazid region, a large exhibition of Islamic books was organized. It started on the first day of Ramadan and lasts until its end.
Every year in the month of Ramadan, Turks come from all over the country to buy religious books and look for Turkish translations of the Holy Quran.
Ramadan's features are also evident in other Turkish cities, where life has been highlighted by a religious touch that seems evident in the media and among politicians. The holy month was greeted by decorating and lighting the minarets of the historic mosque. It's a way to welcome the month of fasting. The red signs say, "Welcome Ramadan." There is no doubt that the features of the holy month of Ramadan are evident in Istanbul, which is still preserving its Muslim heritage. It welcomes the holy month of fasting by decorating and lighting the minarets of its historic mosques.
Damascus is surrounded by a place which is surrounded by holy love and attachment. It is Mount Cassian.
It is a mountain that overlooks Syria and its ancient city.
أينما كنت في دمشق سيطل عليك كعادته قاسيا شامخا.
Regardless of where you are in Damascus, the rugged Mount Cassiun will look at you from above to tell you, "I am Cassiun and you are in Damascus." Mount Cassiun is sacred for the residents of Damascus that it surrounds. In turn, they have encircled the mount with legends and stories. This has made it a destination for every visitor who enters the city of Damascus.
دخل مدينة دمشق.
أنا مغتربة من 40 سنة مغتربة ومن 7 سنين كنت هون بالشام.
I immigrated 40 years ago. I came to Syria 7 years ago and really liked it, especially Mount Casioun. It's very significant for me.
بدور على الذرة شو بتقولوا لها أنتوا المشوية ناكلها والمنظر بيذكر.
I am now looking for corn. What do you call it here? Roasted corn? In truth, the view is really relaxing and I enjoy it tremendously. A pearl. It's like a pearl from up here.
Beautiful, very nice.
This is my third visit to Syria, and I should really visit Qasioun this time, because Qasioun holds a special place in the heart of the Iraqi people.
ولقاسيون تسميات عدة فقد سمي بجبل الصالحين.
Casioun has a variety of names. It was named Mount Salahiyah and the mountains of Maroon's monastery. However, its rugged, obstinate and elevated features made Casioun, or Harsh, the most suitable name. And because it overlooks a divine painting of the city of Damascus, especially at night when the city is transformed into a bride in its most beautiful garment, And because this view requires hours of contemplation, restaurants and terraces were placed at its peak.
We always come to Casioun. It's pretty here. It represents nobility, dignity. Casioun represents everything. It's Syria's principal symbol.
It's pretty. It's very pretty.
Love has a place in Casioun. Its rocks have witnessed millions of beautiful stories that were ingrained into its memory alongside the foothills of Casioun. Whether you're Syrian, Arab, or a foreigner, when you stand here, you'll no doubt see your home, and you will sing with all those who sang before you. From Casioun, I see you, my home. For the Arab Syrian television, Ramita Shahood, Damascus.
The views expressed on Mosaic are from contributing broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible from support of viewers like you. Thank you. Watch Mosaic World News online. Stay up to date with breaking news. Read our blog. Get transcripts of past shows and more at linktv.org/mosaic.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs, programs which connect you to the world.